What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Happy Friday. It is game day eve. I am up on location in Tallahassee, across the Suwannee River. There you see behind me, nice little spring popping off the legendary Suwannee River. We'll be talking Canes with Pete, breaking down this game with FSU, the matchups, all the different things, some comments from Tommy Castellanos we'll get into, dealing with the chat, all the usual fun stuff that we do on this show. First, want to talk about some folks that they can handle business in Tallahassee. They can handle business in Miami. That is Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or somebody you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Pete, hop in.
D, good morning.
Pete, you ever heard that song? The Way Down Upon the Suwannee River. Never heard that one?
Never, man. Never. I got to say, I'm surprised you're highlighting the beauty of Tallahassee. You know, I thought you'd take any opportunity you could to, kind of down on them.
The good point. Good point. So this is the Suwannee River. You cross it to get to Tallahassee. This is a river that connects Florida to Georgia, right? It was probably one of the most famous pop songs of the latter half of the 19th century down here in Florida. Really put Florida on the map, so why it's a Florida State song. But that's crossing that. Then you get to Tallahassee, and Tallahassee it really is a dump, man. I was marveling at how bad it is today. You went just driving around because it's like it's crime ridden, which, you know, I'm from a big city. I'm used to that, but you don't have any of the big city amenities. Everything is just cookie cutter suburban stuff. And then it's like a southern college town generic, but there's no southern charm. It is really the worst of all worlds. 5 thumbs down to Tallahassee. Probably the worst town, maybe Blacksburg, that I've been in on this world tour here of the Canes. So yeah, not very nice up here. But, you know, it's a business trip.
D, I think we should start today with something we actually mentioned yesterday, and it officially came out. Miami's first injury report, ACC injury report, and I'm going to pull it up here. Here we go. I would disagree with that comment about me being uncultured. Listen, Steven, let's talk about the second division in Kazakhstan. Soccer, and I'll talk. Then we can talk about culture.
And your knowledge of the European music scene, by the way, immaculate.
You're always coming up. Growing. I wouldn't say that I'm pristine with it, but it's getting there. So we have the initial injury report here. So this is for ACC matchups only. Obviously, Notre Dame not an official ACC team, so did not get that week 1 here. The out. We understand Hayden Lowe is out. You have a couple walk-ons there, and Dylan Ryman and Ralph Scroggins, brother of Herbert Scroggins. And then you have Demetrius Campbell, freshman, Jackson Carver, both dealing with some long-term injuries there. Questionables. Bobby Washington Jr., as I've been reporting, is working himself back and should be available here pretty soon. So I think that's interesting that he's a questionable. Probably won't see him if we're being honest, just in my estimation, because I don't think the first action he's going to get is going to be against Florida State. But that's, to me, a very positive sign there, D, as you want to continue, you add some nice depth, special teams depth, a guy who has a lot of athletic ability. And maybe could help you down the line here. Chance Robinson looks like he's dealing with a nick there. Yerovi Valdez Alfonso, a walk-on offensive lineman, and then Dalen Russell, who we saw earlier this season with some good snaps. But all of that to say, JoJo Trader and Jordan Lyle are not on there. Now, as I said yesterday, from my understanding, the only thing you can get fined for in the ACC here is saying that a guy is out and not going to play. So I'm going to say that this doesn't necessarily mean a guy's going to play. I think both of these guys do get snaps, D, but you can say that, hey, it was a coach's decision that they didn't play. We didn't say that they weren't. We didn't say that they were hurt. So your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, if you told me this was the depth chart or the injury report, I should say, heading into week 5, game 5, and we're 4-0. I mean, sign me up 10 out of 10 times. I mean, this is a dream list. Now, obviously, you don't want anybody on the list. You don't want Hayden Lowe out. You don't want some of these guys unable, Jackson Carver. You don't want these guys unable to perform and do what they love to do. So, I mean, you'd like it to be 0. But short of that, man, we've been pretty lucky with injuries, knock on wood. We know that's not going to happen over the course of the year because that's just college football. There's going to be some key contributors go down. But I think this is as pristine as of a injury report in this time of the year, especially when you're 4-0, that you could ask for. So there's a healthy Miami team. Looks like it's a pretty healthy FSU team as well. I don't see anybody there for FSU that is a major contributor aside from, like you said, Barker, who had 2 sacks against Virginia, was really their only source of pass rush with the blitz coming out of the defensive backfield. So that's really just the one to watch. Other than that, this should be a pretty clean game injury-wise. And aside from FSU not taking care of business against Virginia and showing that they are a mediocre team, the whole thing sets up perfectly for a big game on Saturday, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Johnny Lagoon says, did Norvell take a page from Mario and list Tommy as probable?
Yeah, I guess.
Listen, I think the beauty in this thing is saying a guy's perfectly healthy and just saying that I think that's where the mind games come in. It's the opposite to me in this situation. But and I'm not saying that that's the case with guys who aren't listed here, because like I said, we've been talking about it and it's been a story all week.
Well, when
Lyle,
go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just going to say that I think both of those guys play, but again, that's you could still say that a guy's healthy and just say, oh, well, he didn't play, and then have the team kind of feel like they have to prepare for it. But
yeah, and I think part of this is when Castellanos throws 3 interceptions and he complains about some body part hurting after the game, they can say, well, he was hurt, and that's why he was on the injury report. Kind of built an excuse there.
There you go. Phil read your mind there with this comment here.
I love it. Yeah, man. So we'll see. It should be a fun game, and I love how it shapes up as far as like the national attention. Everybody's gonna be watching it. I have my concerns. We'll get to the prediction just because I'm waiting for one of those games, and it's got to be one of these 3. Wasn't Florida? I thought it might be Florida. Louisville's still on the horizon. You got this game here. If one of these 3 games isn't close, I mean, this team really is on a whole nother level, right? So I expect one of these 3 games to be close just because of the nature of college football. As we get to the predictions here in a second, it could be this one. But I think if you're just an objective college football fan, ACC fan, I know Eric McClain, our boy, picked FSU to win. He's an ACC
Did he really?
guy.
I didn't see that.
He's an ACC guy, so I think he wants 2 ACC teams to get in the playoff. I think the ACC view is you'd probably want FSU to win a close game, Miami to win the ACC, and then maybe both those teams get in. So that's like a dream scenario for the ACC. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
So predictions, we gave
Wait, hold on, Pete. Before we get into the predictions, I'll let you set it up. Before we get into the predictions, let's talk about some people that I predict will be outstanding because of their track record and where they are ranked right there at the top. That is UHealth Sports Medicine Institute. If you consider yourself an athlete, you're an active guy like Pete, constantly wearing the tracksuit. I know he's getting ready for the pitch today. You probably know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Maybe even try to hack your own rehab, get back early. But if you don't want to be 90%, 70%, you want to be 100%, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute, whether it's elite competition with University of Miami Athletics, everyday movement, you and me. The University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today. Oh, am I sharing the right screen? There it is. Set an appointment today with UHealth Sports Medicine Institute. All right, so that said, I'll give you the floor, Pete, for these predictions.
Yeah, so last week or a couple weeks ago, you had a close game against Florida. You were confident all week in terms of Miami winning. It's very similar this week. You've been very confident in the outcome of the game here, but you have it as a 3-score 3-point win for Miami. I have it as a 3-score win, actually. Little spoiler alert there, as I'll get to my prediction in a second. But you have it 31-28. We kind of went through your reasoning behind it yesterday. But for those who weren't listening, 31-28, that means Florida State's covering. As I think it's 4.5-point spread right now. And that has, I think those close score predictions have people a little worried, D.
Look, I did that last week or last game, and Miami ended up beating Florida by 3 scores. It was dicey for a second, but then Miami was able to win by 3 scores. They are 3 scores better than Florida. I think they're 3 scores better on talent than FSU. My concern is just, and maybe this is PTSD from years of being bad, but even going back to when we were good, 2000, 2001, 2002, there were games like this against inferior opponents. You're not going to get through all of these games clean. And I think the energy Florida State plays with this week is going to be different than what Florida played with last week. There's just more hope there. Just a more veteran, proven quarterback. Lagway, I think, is way more talented than Castellanos. Has a way higher ceiling, but Castellanos has started 24 games. He's played 30. He's got a lot of confidence. He can make plays. His team has confidence in him. He fits the system. And I just think FSU is going to come out punching. They're going to come out hot. They got the ability to make big plays in the passing game in spurts, right? With some of the speed they have, some of the perimeter run game stuff that they do. They have the ability to score 6 quickly in spurts. I think over the course of a game, forced to play offense, really forced to grind out drives. I don't think they lack that. They had that ability. I think they lack that ability. And then defensively, they're poor. But things happen in these kind of games. You know, there's a fumble, there's something like that. There's a muff punt. I've seen this story too many times, Pete. It's going to happen one of these games. I hope it doesn't. It doesn't happen. You know, this Miami team is really, really a level above. But between Florida, Florida State, and Louisville, I'm expecting one of these games to be close. And this is the game of the week. It wasn't last week like I thought it might be. So I'm saying this week it will be close. Florida State will jump on Miami. Miami's not been on the road. This is Miami's first road game. Miami has not been behind. If Miami gets behind, they will be behind. And for the first time, I think ultimately the difference in this game is going to be Carson Beck. I just think the experience of Carson Beck, the fact, and we'll talk about the matchups here in a second, the fact that FSU cannot rush the passer, ultimately Beck's experience, 28-3 as a starter, played in way more hostile environments than Doe Campbell, where you had an old guy reading a book in the upper deck a couple of years ago. I think over the course of the game, Beck will get it done, and I do think Miami is better at every single position. Could I see a world where Miami beats these guys by 3 scores? Absolutely. If FSU doesn't play well, Miami's going to beat them by 3 scores. They're the significantly better team. But I think FSU will play well, and I think they're going to challenge Miami. I think Miami's going to have to learn to deal with adversity for the first time. They'll overcome that adversity, win the game, but I think it'll be a close one.
Rock and Rant, thank you for your contribution. He says, so many Cane fam being timid, shaking my head. Man up, 37-20.
There you go. Well, Pete, give your prediction here.
So that's pretty close to mine, and I had to check my phone a minute ago to go see what I had officially said, because it was like a little bit of a weird score. But 34-16 is what I have, and I have it playing out not too dissimilar to last week. I think Florida State's offense is more explosive, obviously, than Florida's, and will give us more to think about than the Gators did. But I see it kind of playing out similarly to that game, where Miami doesn't necessarily jump out and have a 3-score lead early, but there's a nice little back and forth early. I wouldn't say that Florida gave much of a back in that first half, but those 3 possessions that Miami had in that second quarter against Florida State that they could not capitalize, that they had near midfield, with between the 40s there. I believe in this game, with this extra week, with the bye, and I think I don't know if it was, I think it was Amon earlier who maybe said this earlier this week, that they kind of feel like they might be the weaker side of the ball right now, just based on what they've been hearing in the media. The defense has been spectacular. Offense hasn't been bad. Like, let's not make it something that it's not, but they feel like they can probably take it up a step. I think the execution, even though it's on the road, you would expect it to be a little bit more difficult, but I think the execution will be better in those important opportunities to finish these drives off. That it was actually really good the first 3 weeks of the season, right? Like there was no complaints there in terms of finishing off drives for the most part. I thought maybe against Notre Dame, but against USF it was flawless. But yeah, I think Miami goes into halftime here with a 10-point lead or so. Florida State battles, but I think it's a game that Miami ends up really wearing them down here in the second half, already having the lead going into halftime. And then, 34-16. That's my call.
Listen, if that's the case, has 3 scores over every team in the state, clear state champs, and that would be outstanding. And look, I think that could happen. If FSU does not perform, the talent level between these teams is profound. We talked about it. I don't think anybody aside from Deuce Robinson as part of the receiver rotation, and then Darrell Jackson, if he's motivated, play on this team. I think their secondary is average. If you compare FSU to UF, I think talent-wise, I think UF probably has better offensive talent, quite frankly, than FSU. FSU has more. I don't even think FSU has more speed. What FSU has on offense that UF doesn't is they have a clear identity. So I think that's the advantage FSU has over Florida. Florida just has no identity on offense. They have obviously play caller problems with Napier and just confidence problems. There's no juice there. But if you go player by player, Pete, and again, I think Florida sucks. The offensive line of Florida, I think, is better than Florida State, I would say. I would say your boy Ba as an average SEC running back.
Yeah.
He's better than these other guys.
I like Ba better than, but their backs as a whole are good. I think, for what the offense is. Like, I'm not taking them over Miami's backs, obviously, but I think their backs have some ability, D.
Yeah, well, the running game has been on fire. By the way, Selbo Live 7 says, Miami's looking at that spread as well in their heads. They're thinking to themselves, still didn't respect us, so I'll have to show you again. I hope that's the case, man. I do like that there's some juice for FSU, right? Media-wise, guys picking them. I don't know if these guys are out there watching ACC Network, and watching CanesInSight podcasts or anything. I mean, these guys are kind of locked in. But, I think the fact that everybody's not kissing their butts is good. I don't think motivation is going to be a factor when it comes to this game. I think it's more about, will we get tight if we take a punch? Not saying we can't. I think we will respond. I'm just saying we haven't taken a punch yet. The Notre Dame game was close, but we were in total control. Florida was close for a second, but we were in total control. We were at home in both games. So that road punch, playing from behind, will be different, but we have experienced guys. We have guys that have played in this kind of environment millions of times. Carson Beck at quarterback. So I think that ultimately will be the difference. I do think Miami will win the game, whether it's close or, look, your score. Will post-game Pete be on fire there post-game? Could happen with that 3-touchdown win. It's just going to depend on how FSU plays, I think. They're ready for this. If they don't play good, if FSU does not come ready to play in this game, I mean, how could you have any faith in Mike Norvell? I mean, what's he bringing to the table if FSU is not ready to play in this game?
Yeah, I mean, they're at home. The energy is going to be huge. It's annoying because you still feel like if this was the undefeated matchup that it could have been, the buzz nationally would have been just huge, and game day would have been there. I really believe that. It would have been hard for them to pass that up. But yeah, I do think he'll have them ready. Listen, I probably think a little bit more highly of Norvell as a coach, at least a game planning and like schematic coach, even though he's not calling the plays. I think generally, D, last year there was talent, but there were like really, really, really bad holes in the team. They've retooled, like we've said, probably an 8 to 9 win team this season. But I don't love him as like a program builder overall, as we've seen. Like there's real holes in how he's put the roster together. But I think he's a pretty good coach, if that makes sense. In terms of getting a good amount out of what he has.
I thought he was a good offensive coordinator, offensive coach, and then they took away the offense from him. So we'll see on that. What one NG say Miami?
Well, probably because go ahead.
No, go ahead, Fish.
No, I was going to say probably because he was deficient on the program building and CEO side of things from what it looked like the outside.
So yeah, so focus there on that. I mean, look, Miami's a talent advantage. What's the coaching comparison look like? I mean, Mario won the Pac-12 when it was a Power 5 conference. He won at the G5 level. Best seasons that program FIU ever had. And now he's building this kind of program. Norvell has had highs at the G5 level, highs at FSU, but he's had some of the worst seasons in the history of that program. I mean, ever.
For sure.
So like, man, I'm just looking at his coaching record here at FSU, just to kind of put it in perspective. Remember, this is a team that was in the top 5 every year for like 2 decades almost. So here at Florida State, 3-6 first year, pretty bad. 5-7. Then he had the 2 winning seasons, and then good seasons.
What was the season before the debacle year with the playoff?
10-3.
What was the record? Yeah, I mean, look, that's
so 3.
I think if they have another 9, if they win 10. I don't know if they win 10 this year, but if they win 9 this year, you could say 3 out of the last 4 years. And he took over a really bad situation. He took over like a Manny Diaz, almost end of the Manny Diaz era situation.
Right, so 3-6, 5-7, 10-3, 13-1, 2-10. So 3 losing records out of 5. That's not good. And yeah, he took over a bad situation. They were 6-7. I mean, they went from 6-7 to 3-6. And remember, that was the year we beat him in the Hard Rock, like during the COVID season. We beat him by like 50. Mm-hmm. That was that year. So I hope they keep him. I hope what I hope happens here is Miami, puts belt to ass. It's a 3-touchdown win, and then they go on a little run and have some fun in the ACC, because that's really kind of what they are. They're like that Louisville type of program right now. Although Louisville's more consistent. I don't think Louisville's had these 2-10, 3-6, 5-7 type years. So maybe a less consistent Louisville is what you're dealing with here. But again, it's a trap game. They can beat you.
Yeah. I think really, man, this game, it's kind of like if they come out there and do what they're supposed to do, it's almost like a breather game. Not a breather game for like you. After this game, you can reflect as a team on what you've gone through these first 5 games. Say, we went through that gauntlet, and yes, we'll see how the season plays out. Florida, it's tough to call things a gauntlet when Florida it's looking like their season might be going down a different path now. Florida State, who knows if Miami wins this game? That'll be 2 losses in a row. What happens with them? USF, I think they'll have a good year here, but week by week, each game presented a very tough situation. It did a different look. So if you get through this, I think just mentally as a team, you can say, man, we've gotten through this. You still have the whole ACC now to get through, and then you don't want to look too far in advance. But we did this. This is probably going to be tougher than what we have ahead of us. Let's continue to handle business. So I think mentally, it'll be kind of like a weight lifted off their shoulders.
100%. Hopefully not too much weight, because they got to keep playing ball. They have the bye week.
Yeah, that's what I said. But I think you can kind of like, yeah. And I think Mario will do a good job of this. Is, hey, what we did doesn't matter, but inherently they will have it in the back of their minds.
Yeah, and look, state championship. You ever watching the show Friday Night Lights, Pete?
No.
My boy Buddy Garrity, the booster for the high school, Odessa Permian, he said, we don't win games here. We win seasons, state championships. So trying to win that state championship, establish clearly we are the dominant team in the state, and that there really is no number 2. I mean, if you go out there and you beat up FSU in Tallahassee, there is no number 2. I mean, you're talking about 1 and then a big gap, but you got to get it done. I think I think there is a big gap in terms of if they play 10 times on a neutral field, Miami's way better than all these teams in the state, but on a neutral field, you're in Tallahassee, first road game. You got to take care of business tomorrow. We'll get into some of these matchups here, but yeah, like I said earlier, my prediction 31-28. I thought it was close last game against Florida. I was dead wrong. Eventually, the better team pulled away, and it was a 3+ score win. So we'll see what happens this week. I feel good about the Canes getting that win.
D, real quick, just want to remind everybody, I know not a home game this week. We'll be back. At the licking here soon. But if you're not going up to Tally, even if you are going up to Tally, you bring the cooler with you. Stock up on Lomello's Meat Market, fresh Wagyu beef. If you're national, delivered to your door, you can use that promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. And if you're local here in Miami, 9810 South Dixie Highway, this is the best stuff in the business. You got the skirt steak, the Denver, the ribeyes, the New York strips. You get you see the tomahawk here on the grill, Japanese, A5, Australian Wagyu, American. And look, if you don't want to splurge on the Wagyu, you got the Prime, which is the top of the line stuff as well. And then D, I know, look, you are plant-based, and there are a lot of people maybe listening to the show who might be as well. So you have the salmon poke, the tuna poke already chopped up for you. They're fresh, and you can take home with you. And yeah, man, Lomellos.com. Best in the business. Where Mario gets his stuff, man. This is where the recruits, what they're eating when they're here on campus. So check them out.
Authentic Miami, pure Miami. We're not, they can they can compete nationally, but they are Miami operation. So shout out to Lomellos and shout out to another Miami operation. You hear Canes Cat saying in the chat, everybody go to Duffy's Tavern tomorrow. Standing room only at Duffy's. Let's go crazy. The home of the Hurricanes, Duffy's Tavern. Me and Pete were out there yesterday. There you see it. I mean, that's how you get down there at Duffy's. This was before the Florida game, I believe, or this was actually before Notre Dame. And it's going to be going insane for FSU. This place has been the site for so many FSU games. You know this truck's going to be there. They're going to have the flags up. Pete, take a picture. Let me know what Wayne the Pain writes this week for FSU on the board. A tradition. This goes back decades, man. So if you want to be at the authentic home of the Hurricanes, you see that sign. You see how old school this place is. Duffy's Tavern. The best part about it, all that tradition, all that history, but they got new ownership who is bringing in new ideas, freshening up the menu, at the same time keeping the classics, keeping the old school feel. It's not sterile. It's not sterile and just the same as everything else. It still feels like Duffy's Tavern, but updated. Bring your family, bring your friends. It is the spot. It's Pete's home away from home. It is the home of the Hurricanes. Duffy's Tavern. Shout out to all these guys out here. And Saturday, they got games on all day long. Probably want to get there early if you want to get a seat for the UMFSU game. Is going to be crazy. But yeah, post up. They got all the games from noon all the way until nighttime. Shout out to Duffy's Tavern. Pete, we're here with your boy, Ghost and Yvonne Donaldson, Johnny Lagoon. It makes me think, about my life because I'm in Tallahassee, right? So my wife is she's big in the autism community. That's her profession. So she's meeting with some state legislators this morning. I dropped her off to talk about credentialing for autism treatment, and then I come home. I'm talking to Johnny Lagoon and Yvonne Donaldson about this nonsense in the chat. So our career paths have gone in different directions here in Tallahassee, man. But would not rather be anywhere else than right here with you, talking Canes and our boy Peanut Hickman with the Tallahassee takeover.
Live from the Sewanee River, huh?
That's it, man. We crossed it. I wish I was in the Sewanee River, man. Tallahassee's a dump. I really can't believe how bad this is. I find the good in every place. This place is there's not much to find down here in the state capital.
I will say you should have found a way to bring that Seminole War canoe up with you and take it for a stroll through the river. That would have been a nice visual there. We got to talk to the Hall of Fame to see if we can rent that thing out as a prop.
Yeah, technically, what's behind me is I think it's Manatee Springs. It's not a hot spring. It's a natural spring occurring off the Sewanee River. So we got more natural springs in the free state of Florida than anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. We have the most natural springs like this beautiful spring water. You got manatees swimming in this stuff, alligators, and it's clear as can be. So a natural wonder in the free state of Florida. But Tallahassee's like far from this. Like I'm across this to get there, but Tallahassee's far. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's just mini malls, nonsense. Again, it's pretty squalid for a smallish town. just not a lot going for it here. But they get to see the Miami Hurricanes, number one team in the country, perform.
So, we don't play for the Seminole War Canoe. That's the game against the Gators. But hold on here, I got something I'm bringing up here. We do play for a prize tomorrow evening, and it's a massive one. We play for the Florida Cup. This is the beautiful Florida Cup trophy, and this is between Miami, Florida, and Florida State. So Miami took this puppy home last year. Can we retain the Florida Cup? And I'm a big as an international soccer fan. I'm a big fan of cup trophies. I think you want to win the season, but there have to be other things to play for. And I think this prestigious award right here, if we win this one, then it knocks Florida State out. Now, if Florida State wins this one and then beats Florida later in the year, the cup could be theirs. But I want to hoist this bad boy, man. I really want to hoist this thing.
I didn't know about this. They should hype this up more. I think it's pretty sick, the state champs. Florida has been the dominant
Florida
state.
Cup. The Florida Cup. It's not state champs. It's the Florida Cup.
Florida Cup. That sounds a little too soccery to me. Cups.
That's why I love it. I think maybe we should call it the Sunshine State Cup or something like that. Like add a little bit. Really, they are missing out a huge opportunity here, because what happens in soccer, is a big corporate sponsor basically sponsors the cup. So then it becomes the Islas Canarias Express Florida Cup, which is, I think, something that we need to move towards if we are the commissioner of the state of Florida football, which I don't know who runs this thing, but just a suggestion. There's money being left on the table.
I love it. The Florida Cup. 908 Kane saying, D, stop playing. There's plenty to do in Tally. I'm a diehard Kane fan, but let's keep it real. Listen, if I was in college here, there'd be plenty to do. There's a million colleges here. There's FSU, there's FAMU, there's TCC. So from that standpoint, if you're a college student at FSU, it is a fun time. It is a party school, or any of the schools up here. The party schools, they're all close to each other. I get that part of it. But I'm 40, man. I'm just trying to walk around and enjoy the surroundings. And there's nothing going on out here. We went to USF, Pete, and I did my morning walk after doing the show. I was by the University of Tampa. There was like an intercoastal waterway right in front of the school. There were girls doing yoga in the park. There were dolphins swimming around. It was amazing. You're not seeing that out here in Tallahassee. I'm walking hills, just straight up Chipotle, ABC Liquor, just the normal chains, chain after chain after chain, no scenery. The trees aren't even that nice. The hills are just a burden. They're not like a nice rolling hill that you can look at and appreciate. So I'm very down. It's the weather's nice. It's kind of cool. It's not too cold, but I'm very down on Tallahassee, man. For the capital of the greatest state in the greatest land, it's underwhelming, to be sure.
So
the Publix Cup.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, FPL, someone said here, listen, I'll say this. It's a real opportunity for the people who run the cup. And guess what? If they don't want to do it, we'll make a better cup, and we'll be the ones who take this thing to the next level. D, let's go. Let's start the campaign.
Well, yeah, you're right. We could do it. We got enough people on. We got
Florida Cup. When no one knows about the Florida Cup anyways. They're not marketing the thing well enough. The trophy, it's nice. Like I said, I want to hoist it, but we could do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And now hopefully it's competitive. Hopefully it's not competitive. And then in which case, it might be a while before the Florida Cup is competitive again. So maybe that will take some of the luster out. It's just domination of the cup. But maybe it's like you could relegate teams. Florida probably is getting relegated right now because they lost to USF, right? So they're relegated out of the Big Three. Is that how it works, Pete, in soccer? You get relegated out of there?
Yeah, I really, that's now we're getting to the right page now, D. Now you're getting it. You're throwing some good ideas in there, but it makes sense, right? Like there has to be, that's what I love about the way it works over there, is like there has to be some sort of like you're getting in trouble for not doing what you're supposed to do. So
100%. We got some listeners going to be here tomorrow or here already. Kevin, appreciate you. Anyone who sees me, watches the show, say what's up, man. Love to love to break bread, especially we need strength in numbers out here. There's always fights out here in Tally. That's one thing that I remember going back to college. There's always some brawls. So we need to have a phalanx out here. We got to come together and go to war. Shout out Philip. Appreciate you. For is it worse than Gainesville? I was talking to my wife about this today. She was adamant that Gainesville is way better. I don't think there's that much of a difference. To me, they're both kind of generic Southern college towns without the Southern charm. But I would say that Tallahassee is just worse, just a little more squalid. The hills are annoying, and the trees are less lush. So in that way, I would give Gainesville.
I like hills. I like hills, man. I like hills. It makes me feel like I'm in a different part of the country, even though you're still in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
I do like the hills, I gotta say.
Yeah, you like them till you're just driving up them all day, getting dizzy. It's not like they're scenic hills. This is not, Tennessee. You know what I mean? It's still Florida, so it's not like you're going. It's not like there's a lot of
you. Well, listen, you haven't lived through since you've been through the hills of North Alabama. I'll tell you that. I used to do that on my recruiting trips. That was those drives were a doozy.
That's your home away from home.
Yeah, I have a few home away from homes, but I do miss the state of Alabama. I have not been in a couple of years now, and I'm itching to get back. There are some good little towns through Alabama. I will say I've only gotten 2 speeding tickets in my life, being in Miami, and both of them were when I was driving through towns in Alabama.
You were in some My Cousin Vinny situation. You ever seen that movie?
No.
What was the last movie you seen? You saw the Elvis movie, I know, The Goat.
I saw the one with our boy Danny Ramirez.
Oh, there you go. The Marvel, the Captain America.
I forget what it was called. He had the U shirt on in the scene.
He sent us a prediction. I don't know if we're authorized to post it. I get worried when you're dealing with people that are big stars like that because they got publicists and stuff. You don't want to get anybody in trouble. But he did send a prediction, and I can tell you, Danny believes this is going to be a big time blowout. He is not scared one iota. He's dialed in like you wouldn't believe. He's watching film. This guy's like a Hollywood superstar watching film on FSU condensed games and stuff, but he thinks it's going to be a major blowout. So I don't want to give away his prediction without authorization, but he's very confident.
So Tommy Castellanos made some comments earlier this week that he went on with your boy Eric McLean on AC Network, and they do awesome, and with sorry, what's her name? That is his co-host.
Well, they got Taylor Tannenbaum, Kelly
Gramlich. It was Kelly Gramlich and Mac Lane, and they had Tommy C on. We'll call him Tommy C. Oh, we'll give him that. Just easier for us. A lot of people were talking about the comments he made about the defensive lines being, him feeling like the defensive lines were even, something along those lines, which I don't take too much stock into that because whatever, it's his guys. Like what's he gonna say? No, Miami actually has a better D-line than ours. That's not what I found interesting. What I found interesting was this quote right here that I don't know if you've heard this, and maybe it's me reading between the lines a little bit, but they asked him about Carson Beck and what the message to his defense was. And look, he's a guy who's gone out there and talked. Obviously, we saw him before Alabama in the summer, and that he backed it up. The team backed it up. So maybe there was some motivational aspect to that. But he said something here at the end that was a little bit interesting to me, just because I don't often hear quarterback talking about other quarterbacks in this way before a game. He said, his message to the defense, just be physical, be dominant. I tell Earl and them all the time, go be you, go be y'all. Go get after that guy back there and make him uncomfortable and make some decisions that we know he can. That we know he can. Now, if Carson Beck came out in an interview this week, D, and said, hey, I'm ready for the defense to get after him, because we know he can't really throw the ball downfield like that. Or make some decisions that we know he's capable of. That's a little, that was an interesting one to me, D. And I'm not, maybe we're stirring things up a little bit here, but that was an interesting comment to me.
Yeah, very interesting comment. And it's interesting because Castellanos talking about Beck. Beck's not going to be talking about Castellanos because he can't see him. He can't see him. I mean, both literally, he stands about 6 inches taller, so he's not in his line of sight. And this is a guy who's 28-3 in real football. Castellanos is quitting in the middle of an ACC season because he couldn't cut it at Boston College. So I think if you're comparing the two players, there really is not a tremendous amount that you can compare. But as far as decision making, I mean, what's Castellanos? Let me just pull up his stats because talk about decision.
Again, everyone was talking about the D-line comment he made. He said something about, he wants to have two. He's never been a part of two field rushes before. This one is the one that's more interesting to me than all of that because he's really taking a shot at a certain player.
And the guy sucks. I mean, if you suck, you should not talk. You should be quiet and try to hope that you get a lucky one. But when you're a bad player, which Castellanos has been, I mean, Castellanos 15-14, and sorry, I know he's Castellanos according to what he made up his own last name. We will give him the second L in his name here on Saturday, and he will be Castellanos. But I mean, this guy who had 15 touchdowns and 14 interceptions his last full year as a starter. Last year, the numbers improved, but he quit and got benched midway through. So, I mean, you look at last year. And then this year, where he's played two of the worst teams in the country and is having a great year, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So, again, you're talking about a player who is going to be going pro in something other than football. And he's talking about Carson Beck, projected NFL player who's won a million big games, much bigger than this against much better opponents. So, the guy likes to talk. It is what it is. He was rewarded for it last time, so I'm sure he's feeling good about himself. And I hope that quote reached the Miami Hurricanes because the fact of the matter is you talk about trenches. I mean, there really is no comparison between the trenches. I'll just pull up a stat right here. And I'm not a big Pro Football Focus guy, as you know, but, I mean, I think the eye test supports this. Florida State, 95th in pass rush grade. Miami, 9th in pass block grade. I think that ranking is skewed because we've actually played some pretty highly talented teams, or at least relative to some of the other teams that have the early season schedule. So you're talking about a elite offensive line against a quite embarrassing pass rush in the front for FSU. So I think that could be a bloodbath up there. And we'll see with Castellanos and the decisions he makes. I mean, I think FSU made a poor decision going after Castellanos. It makes them a dangerous trap opponent, which is why I'm concerned about them as an upset type of team. But they're never going to win anything with him in this offense. It's a very low ceiling operation. Like, can you imagine these guys going to the playoffs with this gimmicky nonsense? They're like, they're one of these teams that is a tough out from an offensive standpoint, but no one actually takes them seriously as a contender. And I think that's what Castellanos represents, someone that doesn't get taken seriously as a contender, but it's annoying and you got to deal with. So hope he gets dealt with.
Yeah, he that was interesting to me. He also added, go put that ball in jeopardy for us and give us the ball back at home with that momentum. Don't let him play a perfect game.
that now he's getting a little more realistic. They got to keep him from being perfect. That's a little more realistic because when Carson Beck has time like he's going to have in this game, it's target practice.
Yeah, but it just, again, maybe it's me reading into it, but the initial comments of, let's make him make decisions that we know he can. It kind of smells like the locker room has been saying, man, this guy sucks. He's overrated. We're going to eat him alive next week. Like, that's what it sounds like. The talk is in there, right? Am I reading this wrong, D?
No, you're reading that. You're reading that accurately. And I think again, Ruben Bain's going to get after these guys. Messidor. I mean, motivation.
Bain did delete. I think he did delete that tweet about them, as someone said in the comments yesterday. Which I did say the other day. I was surprised he tweeted that, just because I don't think that Mario loves that stuff being out there. Not Mario will probably let more slide with him than others, but he, I think, is very cognizant of what's being said out there this week.
Yeah, no doubt. There's Lord Baconton. He said, Castellanos was saying our offensive line, defensive line will level out with FSU. What football you're watching? He doesn't know football. That's sad. You play. He's got to support his boys. But, I mean, ultimately, we know the deal there. Peony Boy saying, you see that Sean Taylor comment? That got me hot. Yeah, I mean, look, I will say there's bad dudes in every fan base. FSU, I'd say, probably dumber than most. I mean, no one sets out to say, I want to go to FSU, right? No one's dream is to go to FSU as an academic institution. So you're talking about people that were rejected by multiple places before they went to this institution, if they were able to get into the institution. A lot of these guys weren't able to get into FSU, which puts you in a pretty low bracket. So these aren't the smartest individuals across the board. So, you got to take that into account when you deal with them. And they're also frustrated. They were a two-win team last year. If they live in the city of Tallahassee, they're doubly frustrated because the place is a dump. So there's a lot going on emotionally with these guys. You have to take that into consideration when they say things. Let's see here what we got going on. Bayou saying, once things start going sideways for little Tommy and he gets hit a few times, he will quit and fake an injury. That's a good point by Bayou. So you got to account for the fact that he's a quitter. Milan saying FSU plays right into Miami's defense hands like candy to a baby. I think this is obviously the best defense that they played. D-Money and Pete says a little Prince forgot his guitar to this game after Bane and Messi touched him a few times. Things will be different. Don't disrespect Prince. Prince is a winner, a champion. Prince is also a very good basketball player. RIP to the great one. I think there's an unfair comparison for Prince to compare him to Castellanos.
Kirk says, but D, I graduated from FSU. Everyone except you, Kirk.
Yeah, he's smart enough to be a Canes fan. So obviously a higher level of intellect there. Bayou says, I beg to differ. If LSU has the dumbest fan base on the planet, you're there, so you have more insight on those. But certainly in Florida, man, FSU is bottom of the barrel.
So, man, recruiting wise, would there be anyone from FSU's list that we'd want? Can we start to openly tamper on their recruiting board? I don't think there really is anyone, right?
No, not on their roster, not on their recruiting board, nothing. We're not tampering with anything at FSU. That's not even worth it. They have not recruited well. I mean, their team stinks. Again, maybe I have PTSD, right?
You wouldn't want Chauncey Kennan?
Where is he? What happened to those 5 stars that go there? They don't play.
He's committed. No, Chauncey Kennan's committed to them. He's a 5-star corner.
Oh yeah, the kid from Sarasota, right?
Yeah.
I was mixing him up with the one they got a 5-star the year before.
Yeah, you're thinking about Charles Lester.
He didn't do anything. I mean, none of these guys 5 stars do anything. All their guys they're playing are just bargain bin transfers. So,
oh no. Let's stop. You gotta be careful when you open your mouth sometimes about these Florida State guys. We're talking about the recruiting class. Oh, Jason J. Rock Lopez, baby.
Listen, you know what? I take it back. That's who we got.
That's who we got. Take it back, my friend.
That's who we got to flip. By the way, he pronounces his last name accurately. He's not out here calling himself Jason Lopes like Castellanos, complete ashamed of his heritage faker. Let's get Jason Lopez where he belongs down here in Miami. A true winner, a true productive player. I mean, obviously, there's no quarterback to throwing the ball over there. So let's bring him back. Let's bring him back home.
Would we spin the block on Tito Hughes?
I never heard of Tito Hughes. What position does he play?
The safety from Northwestern.
Oh,
yeah, you have. We've
Darius.
Talked about him. Yeah.
Darius.
Yeah,
I didn't know they call him Tito.
Like I'm pretty sure I've heard him Tito Hughes, but like,
well, shout out to Tito Hughes again. Castellanos is
maybe I'm wrong.
He's trying to go the other way.
No, I'm not. It's not like Tito Benach. It's like Tedo.
That's a cool nickname.
Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn I've seen.
No, I like it.
Is he a Duasso kid? Is he a Raw kid?
I don't know.
Because I think I've heard Duasso talk about him like that. But is he someone that maybe we come back around on?
Maybe. I haven't seen his senior stuff yet. I got to go see Northwestern play. Maybe the bye week, me and you, Pete, we'll go back to Traz like the old days. Go out there, get some conch. They got the
Austin says D-Money goes by government names for the recruits.
I've never heard of it. I like it. I like Tito Hughes. That's a sick name.
Maybe I'm wrong. Out of there. I could have sworn that I've seen that before.
If he wants to get, run over by Virginia running backs in the hole like Earl Little, he can go to, FSU. If he wants to get coached up,
Maybe I just completely made it up.
I love it. They got to call him that from now on. It's a great name. Tito Hughes.
Yeah, that's a good. Oh, yeah. Okay. The AI overview on Google says Tadarius Tito Hughes is a 4-star safety recruit. Okay. So I got it.
It's a sick name. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's, I'm tired of these guys already.
Shout out, by the way, as Rob says, shout out to my boy J.R. Bryant, former Florida State DB, my coworker, former colleague at FRM. He's like I said, he's got some love for the Canes these days. He reps Bryce Fitzgerald, so I know he's been at practice a lot and stuff like that. And shout out to the Players Chamber. That's his podcast. D, we got to have them on soon. They're great stuff in terms of the high school scene down here. We've been talking about how we want to get back in the mix on a lot of like high school stuff. We follow the recruiting stuff, but the Players Chamber does a great job. So shout out to JR and his podcast. We're gonna beat those boys pretty badly this week, JR. I'm sorry to tell you though.
Yeah, that's back when FSU used to get good players.
Yeah,
from Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a tough loss. I remember that. That was a tough loss losing him from Miami Columbus, J.R. Bryant.
Well, and then Killian. He was I guess his last year was at Killian, but yeah, he was a Columbus guy for a few years there.
I heard that Killian's like not going to be a school anymore.
Really?
Like they might shut down Killian because True North is taking too many of their kids. It's like like the rumor on the street. Interesting.
Wow, D, we got starting academia rumors on here, or spreading them, I should say.
Wait, what? Where's that at? Who's saying that?
Oh, you.
What rumor did I start? Academia.
That Killian's shutting down.
Oh yeah. Sorry. I don't know. I heard that. You never know what you're gonna get on the CanesInSight Daily podcast the Friday before FSU.
Yeah, no. You're gonna make Sam Abrams all sad, man.
He's the one that told me, I think.
Oh, now it's getting worse, man. You're outing your sources.
By the way, shout out to Sam Abrams, Ryan Otero, some great Canes in the Cubs organization as the Cubs pull it off over the San Diego Padres. Now, and by the way, shout out. I know we lost yesterday, but shout out to Slade Ciccone for the Cleveland Guardians. He did a nice job starting the game for the Guards, gave him a chance to win, but didn't get it done. Yeah, Derek Hugs, great point here about Tommy Castellanos Prince comparison. He'd be rejected by the purifying waters of Lake Minnetonka. That's absolutely right. P, when did you first see Purple Rain?
I don't know what Purple Rain is. Actually, I do. That's the Future mixtape you're talking about, right?
That's right. Right.
That's what you're talking about. I was laughing at this comment.
Yeah, obviously distracted this morning. Green Run Baptist Church said, "Yeah, I kind of missed Pete's comment there. I'm zoning out. I'm facing a window." So like I'm just looking out the window here at the backyard in this Airbnb in Tallahassee, and there's nothing there. There's a tree with no leaves on it. There's some flowers struggling for life out here. The lawn looks decrepit. I thought people take care of their lawns around these parts. This lawn looks decrepit. And then a fence that couldn't stop FSU's D-line. So just a terrible backyard here and terrible landscaping. And if you wanted elite landscaping, Pete, if you wanted elite landscape artisans, can't get it in North Florida. But if you're in the lush, tropical, subtropical foliage of South Florida down to the Keys, talk to the landscape artisans at the OrchidMan, ORCHID man. Landscape artisans, best in the business. Attention to detail is key. It's not just the pretty stuff, the obvious stuff. It's the dirty work. All the things you don't want to think about, they think about for you. Hurricane prep, lighting, gutters, irrigation, you name it. OrchidManFlorida.com. ORCHID man. How about that?
Corey Heatherman, man. That's what M. Milan just wants to say. Shout out to Corey Heatherman. And tomorrow's a huge test for, I don't want to call it a test because I think he's shown that he's a dude, right? And he's a super legit coach. But really great matchup for him is what I'll say. That's That's a good one, man, especially with what they like to do, and you've now given him an extra week to prepare for it. So
yeah, no, I will say, we all talk matchups. We're supposed to talk matchups on this show. We got sidetracked into academia rumors and landscape.
Hey, listen, I feel like we've had a pretty good show here, almost an hour in. So
yeah, we're rolling. I got
without
nothing else to do out here. Like
I don't think you were prepared for the Tommy Castellanos comments.
I know. I mean, honestly, I thought like I knew he was gonna talk the trenches, which that's defending your teammate. But you talk about an opponent when you suck. I mean, this guy is now. I will say, he's not going to play football after the season, so maybe he's just trying to get his licks in now and have his fun. Like, what's going to happen? It's going to hurt his draft stock. He's not going to get drafted.
You don't think he can be a slot?
He's not athletic enough to be a slot receiver. He's not athletic enough.
I wonder what he runs.
Probably 4. He's quick. Yeah, exactly. Comparing Prince to Tommy C is a little OD. Prince is a legend. That's absolutely right. I mean, come on now. What are we talking about here? I wouldn't even compare him to Morris Day in the time. Morris Day in the time, Morris Day in the time, a good comparison for FSU because Prince would be UM, which is like top dog, and then Morris Day in the time, number 2, and then when they're on top, it's a little, it's not right. And then at the end of the movie, it gets set straight, and Miami's number 1, Morris Day in the time number 2. But Morris Day in the time is excellent. That's like Bobby Bowden era FSU. This is not Morris Day in the time.
I just got a text. Killian program shutting down, Peter. No, I think he's saying the entire school, not just the program.
Yeah, the school's shutting down. True North's taking it. That's what I heard. But yeah, should we talk some matchups on the show?
Let's go, D.
All right, let's talk some matchups here. So really, to me, I think one thing I'm trying to watch as we look at some of the key matchups in this Florida State-Miami game, we have an elite pass rush, as everybody knows. You saw the Notre Dame game. You saw the Florida game. You saw how these guys get after it. Discipline on the edge is key. This is not a situation where you have a mobile, tall quarterback that you're trying to get after and get him to move. This is someone you're trying to avoid movement. So a lot of times you're trying to stay disciplined in your rush lanes, really take different angles as opposed to just pitching down, going, trying to get after him, trying to give him a situation where he cannot escape. He can't go right. He can't go left because the defensive ends are coming vertically with discipline. I think one thing that these guys bring, meaning Bain and Messidor, is that they are not 230-pound defensive ends that need to kind of beat you around the edge with speed and get a field. That's not the only way they can do it. But these are big, big defensive ends. So I think when you look at their ability to play with power and knock guys back, Gunnar Hansen, what's the name of the big offensive tackle from Ole Miss? The right tackle.
Yeah, that's a big boy. What's his name? We did a video on him when he transferred.
Yeah, he stinks. His pass protection is horrible. I think he grades out. He came in as a run blocker. I think actually grades out higher as a pass protector at FSU, but he's not a good player. And Gunnar Hansen has no power. So I think, or no,
Micah Pettis. Right. Yeah.
And Gunnar Hansen can't deal with the power of Bain and Messidor. He can't anchor on those guys. So I think the power of our defensive ends going forward, but also having the discipline to not get too excited to crush Castellanos and to just stay where they're at and compress the pocket on him, force him to stay in there. That's going to be a key matchup. I think these guys are veteran players. We're talking about Bain and Messidor. They're going to be coached up but they've been coached up all by to keep Castellanos in the pocket. And they have the physical traits to do it. And they're going to get sacks of Castellanos just running into him. You know what I mean? If they stick to the script, which we talked about all week, play their assignment, don't get too excited to get after him, use their power to generate knockback, he's going to just, run right into him. So I hope they get a lot of sacks, but I hope they're not chasing sacks in this game because the sacks are going to come to them. So I think just that the discipline and power of Miami's defensive ends, Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor going against Pettis, going against Hansen, that's going to be a key matchup to me in this one.
I think we talk a lot about the corners, right? And them being able to match up with the speed. And we all feel very confident with how the DBs have played early in the season here. But I'm going to say specifically the safeties over the top, right? Because you have so much speed here and you have so much misdirection with the eyes, that all it takes is one missed assignment and someone's up the seam, someone's down the sideline on a wheel, and there's a misassignment where the safety was supposed to be there over the top. They got sucked into something else, underneath in the middle of the field, and boom, touchdown or 50 yard play. So I think them in particular, I think the corners physically are going to be able to match up with these guys, but the safety help over the top with what you expect Malzahn to do in terms of the side-to-side stuff and then surprise you and hit you over the top, that's where the safeties, I think, are very important here because physically they've been hitting. Bryce Fitzgerald's had a couple picks here. Poyser's been getting more comfortable in this thing, but the emotions of a rivalry game, you get caught up trying to get downhill, and then boom, they hit you. So I think the safeties will be very important.
Yeah, that's a great call. Open field tackling too, in terms of some of these faster guys. If you get them on the perimeter, right? You want let's say Micah Danzy catches you off guard, right? And he's on the sideline. He's a big physical guy for being as fast as he is. I think he's like 185, and he's built like a sprinter. He's just a strong guy, straight line-ish, not going to juke you out, but he can break tackles. We've seen him break tackles going down the sideline. If that play. Look, some of these plays are going to hit, right? That's just the nature of football. If that play that hits is a 20-yard gain as opposed to a 60-yard touchdown, your safeties did a good job. So I think that's also part of it too, is limiting their big plays that they do eventually hit to normal big plays as opposed to catastrophic plays. I think you'll be in good position. So, another matchup, but we'll stay in the secondary, is really going to be, and this is a Xavier Lucas, this is OJ Frederic, this is Ethan O'Connor, this is Damari Brown, whoever's matched up with Deuce Robinson. There are going to be a few plays in this game where it is just a contested catch situation, and they're throwing it up to Deuce Robinson. And we saw against Syracuse last year, playing the ball, being able to locate the ball in the air, be physical, and disrupt the contested catch. Against Syracuse last year, that was the difference in the game. We couldn't do it. Obviously, the personnel is much different this year. Notre Dame, they had big physical receivers. Those guys were non-factors in the game for a few reasons. Can we win the matchup when the ball is in the air? Because there's a couple times where they throw one-on-one to Deuce Robinson, and that plays a pass breakup on third down, second down, whatever. There's only so many of those opportunities. They don't throw it that much. So if you win a couple of those matchups, it is a huge swing in this game. Same token, if they win it, that's a big momentum for them. It's going to be a ton of, just juice in the crowd if they make a big play down the field. So those are not going to be a ton of those opportunities because it's a game where they're not going to pass the ball a lot. But when they do pass it down the field, are you able to make that play in the air, which you didn't make against Syracuse, but I think you did make you have made this season for the most part. There was a couple of big plays in the USF game that were hard to defend. But I think for the most part, you've seen the corners do their job. They got size. Lucas has the size to match up with Deuce Robinson all day. He's one of the biggest corners in the ACC. Frederic's got size. He can play the ball. Damari's a big corner. Ethan O'Connor maybe on the smaller side, but very good ball skills. Can you win those opportunities? Because I think FSU's passing game, we know what it is. It's not going to be a diverse attack. It's going to be, can they make big chunk plays to Deuce Robinson in limited opportunities? So you just got to win those, at least win more of those than you lose, and at the right times in the course of this game.
I brought this comment up. I just wanted to give you a chance.
Terrence Ling said, when did the 185 become big? You said JoJo was small and he's 180. I didn't say JoJo was small. I said, he needs to get stronger. I would say maybe with Danzy, it's the way he has played and looked on the field. Like he's breaking tackles. Like he looks strong to me. I don't know what he's listed at 185. I don't know what his scale weight is. So many of these things are hard to really know in college. It's just, you don't get official weights like that. And Pete, tell me you disagree, but like Danzy looks pretty strong to me. Squirrel White,
he looks like a little bit more rocked up, if that makes, like twitched up in terms of, I agree, breaking arm tackles, just like running through stuff. And I agree, weight, number one, the listed weight doesn't mean anything. And it's more about like, the actual strength itself. The number doesn't equate to play strength. And I think when we talk about play strength, like it's fighting through some of the hand stuff, to make the reception. It's getting off the line of scrimmage, right? We've seen him block and play with effort. So it's not like necessarily that. It's more of a consistent down in, down out. We saw him on that deep ball, it looked like it was a little overthrown. But if you talk, Amon as a receiver said, hey, if he keeps running and can play through the contact a little bit, then that might be a completion. So it's stuff like that. Wiry, strong, as Don Vaughn said. I think wiry is the word I was looking for. I don't see the same wiry strength with JoJo right now.
Yeah, and Squirrel White, he's not strong or wiry strong or any kind of strong. He's lighter. So, and then McCoy pretty light as well. So really, it's those two. They have a little bit of size to them. Of course, Deuce Robinson.
Oh, hold on, EJ. What are we talking out of both sides of the mouth? Well, first of all, I didn't. D Money who said that, but I do agree with it. I mean, we're seeing it. Like, he did it against Bama too, right? Like, we haven't seen it from JoJo.
Well, look, and then let's see it here. Now, I will say I do think JoJo is stronger than he might look. You saw him knock someone out against Notre Dame in the blocking game. You see against Iowa State, break a tackle, go to the house. With him, my concern is more about durability. Just kind of like doing it consistently and getting on the field, doing it in practice, getting there when it needs to. So that's what I want to see. What everybody wants to see from JoJo. But look, it is very, very possible. And in fact, obviously, I hope this is how it plays out because I want this guy to succeed. Is that post-game Pete is talking about JoJo Trader Saturday at around 11:30 p.m. Right? So we'll see.
We'll see.
Do you think there's a boa constrictor game, Pete?
I think listen. I'll be talking about him one way or another because that if here's the thing about it, D, because I still unfortunately see a scenario where he plays maybe 10 snaps and maybe has one reception, maybe doesn't get the ball at all. And then people are like, hey, where was JoJo? Well, JoJo played 10 snaps and didn't do anything. So he's still going to be a discussion whether or not he has a good game or not, unfortunately.
Yeah. But look, I have faith in the player. I have faith in the guys around him. He's going to have plenty of time to do what he needs to do. Right.
Do I think it's going to be a boa constrictor game? I think that's how Miami wins games. They haven't shown me any other way to do it just yet.
Great call here by Canes Cat. JoJo's best game of the year was in FSU Stadium sophomore year. He had 3 touchdowns and a pick 6 to the house. I remember that game. I remember saying, like, man, we better get this guy. We got him, so let's use him. I remember that. I remember that game. I always thought JoJo was actually going to be a corner. That was always my thought, that he was going to be like a first-round pick at corner. But he's obviously a good receiver too. He's got great hands, so I see why he stayed there. But man, I always thought that was where he was going to land when I saw that game because he was a really good defensive back. That was when he played for Central before he transferred to Chaminade. Good question from M. Milan. You feel that JoJo Lyle being out, coach stating they'll have plenty of opportunities to perform, and that was Shannon Dawson, saying that they're going to have opportunities. Do you feel they are under pressure to perform? Big time pressure. But I mean, they want the pressure. They want to be counted on. They don't want to be forgotten. And I'd say in particular, JoJo, I don't know as much about. I just don't know. But knowing some people around Lyle, I know Lyle's like dying to play. He is. So I did storm sessions with Jordan Lyle, which, by the way, I did storm sessions yesterday. Let's pull that up so we can talk about it. I'm not going to just to show people. I did a storm sessions interview with Samson Okunlola yesterday, which was awesome. This dude is so smart, man. This guy's going to be like an executive type dude when he's done with his NFL career. But really smart guy. Really enjoyed that conversation with Samson Okunlola. But I did a storm sessions, these are the shows that I do with the University of Miami. Official right there in the studio with Mario. Appreciate you, Shannon, with the support. Go Canes, baby. So these are shows I do officially with the University of Miami. There you see it, storm sessions. Let's just see a quick one right here. A little picture with Samson. There we go. So Samson, it's funny. Look at that chair, man. You think I was bigger than Samson in this picture. And then the guy stands up and he's huge. He's one of those guys that, like, you don't really notice how big he is. He didn't look that big in pads, and you see him, and he is really big. And I'm sure if you put him on the scale and measuring him, he's going to be a high echelon. But it's funny, man. I was talking to him like, man, this guy doesn't look that big. And then he stood up and he was a giant, but super, super smart guy. Great guy to talk to. Samson, I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to toss around those FSU defensive tackles. It's going to be ugly when they run to Samson's side. But anyways, I had a storm sessions last year with Jordan Lyles. So I was sit down with him, talk to his family, kind of learn more about him. This guy's been like waking up at 5 a.m. to run with his dad since he was like a kid. His brothers played, like serious family, great family, serious family about football, serious work ethic. So like JoJo Trader is one of these guys that like he puts a lot into being great. He has really, really high expectations for himself, which again, a lot of these guys, most of these guys, pretty much all of them do. But like this guy is pretty hard charging with that kind of stuff. And I know that not playing is driving him absolutely insane. And I think he is going to, the first time he touches the ball, I just hope he's not too antsy and he has some patience, but he is going to be like shot out of a rocket when you see him carry the ball. Is my prediction. That's why I think that my two players of the game predicted is going to be Carson Beck and Lyle. Not because I don't think Fletcher is one of the best backs in America. I think Fletcher is an absolute superstar. Everybody knows he's maybe my favorite player on the team. And you see how good he is. But I think Lyle, just because he has so much pent-up energy, is going to be on fire.
You said maybe your favorite player on the team because we know Elijah Lofton's your favorite player.
He could be one of those two, right? Those guys but I mean, I like all these guys, man. And JoJo, man, I'm rooting so hard for JoJo to because he's so talked about. That JoJo video we did like 15,000. Just talk his name. He's like he's a needle mover with the fan base, and I'd love for him to just be that guy and show what he can do because he's had to deal with adversity with the injuries. Yeah, Nick West saying, great interview. Samson is CEO written all over him, man. I agree. He was saying he wanted to work for like the Players Association or the NFL or something like that. That's like his dream when he's done with the NFL. I could see that being definitely something he does, man. He has really worked hard. And can I go? I know we're talking about matchups here, Pete, but can I, while you're thinking of your next matchup, can I go on a quick side note? This is why you pay when you're paying money in the portal to players. Look at a guy like Samson, right? I think it's fair to say because of the injuries, Samson was a 5-star player. I don't think I'm saying anything confidential. People can kind of figure this out. That when you have a 5-star player that is highly recruited, highly compensated in the NIL era, he doesn't play the first couple of years. There's a discrepancy maybe between what it takes to acquire that kind of player and what he's producing. I think that's fair to say without getting into any state secrets. Everybody can kind of figure that out. But the reason, in my view, it makes sense to invest in the guys that have those elite intangibles, talking about between the ears, is because even if they get injured or something goes wrong, instead of just flopping and transferring, Hakeem Williams at Florida State, to use an example, this is a guy who is going to stick to the script. He's going to work hard. He's going to work on
Nicole Kidman.
Exactly. You heard it. Yeah. Shout out to Lil Wayne. That's all. One of the great. That was probably one of the best Lil Wayne verses of all time. That
well, you know what? You know what else he said in that song?
Smoke weed, talk blank like Lane Kiffin.
Yep.
That's what he put Lane Kiffin on the map. Lane Kiffin should be paying Lil Wayne for blowing up his. If it wasn't for that verse, Lane Kiffin would have been out of the sport probably. But it allowed him to stick around. So shout out to Lil Wayne. But anyways, yeah, like with respect to Samson. When you pay a guy like that, who you know what you're getting as the person part of it, they're going to pan out some way or another. The chances of them failing is very, very small. Whereas if you're paying for somebody, you're not, you know the talent's good, but you're not sure on the mental, yeah, it could work out great, or you get completely burned. I think in this sport where you really have a limited amount of money, you can't just pay everybody at that high level. You got to get your money spent on people that you just truly, the big numbers, you truly trust. And I think Samson, who's now, I mean, you watch this film, he's playing guard as well as anybody in the country. And he's going to be, I think he's going to be an All-America when it's all said and done. That's the kind of guy you invest in. Francis, obviously, cut from the same cloth and had earlier success. But that's the kind of guy you invest in. That's my spiel, but that's something I truly believe in.
There you go.
So anyways, Pete, what matchup?
I mean, I said it yesterday, but I think I'm calling it a Marquise Lightfoot versus Castellanos on third downs because I think he's going to be big in containing him there.
Yeah, that's a That's a good one. I mean, remember his speed against Lagway, or it was a game. It was a car, right, where he chased him down in the first play. You saw him chase Lagway around. I think his speed is different. I agree. Castellanos has not seen that kind of speed on the edge. Alabama really, that Alabama tape on defense was appalling. It really was. I mean, they were so bad. If Miami plays the way they're supposed to play on defense, meaning the energy, the violence, the run to the football that they did at home, they got so much more to throw from a talent standpoint than Alabama, and then also from a culture standpoint. I think DeBoer has, in my opinion, has really let the culture slip on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Washington, great team, did not play good defense when they went to the championship. They got by on offense, and I'm seeing Alabama kind of built the same way, maybe more talent, but they're built the same way. So, yeah, I'm not too bullish on Alabama's defense going forward. And I think guys like Lightfoot, who you've mentioned, I put Armando Blood in that category, bigger player than Lightfoot, but he's a guy that will chase you down. You know, his motor runs hot. So if you pull that Castellanos run around game, you'll have a 280-pound Blunt chasing you down, knocking you out. So I think the motor of those guys running to the football, that's ultimately how we're going to win this ball game on defense. Nick West mentioned Cantwell's in that same class as far as paying a guy that's mentally strong like that. I would totally agree. He's not going to fail with his mental game. I hate to bring up this name of Jeremiah Smith, one of those guys as well, where the mental game is just elite, and you see what happens.
So, D, what do you got planned today in Tally?
I really don't know. I mean, we got some people coming up, so we'll meet up with the crew, Mike Ryan and the crew. Everybody's coming up here. Cover 3 podcasts is out here. I like those guys. I might check out, say what's up, talk some smack. But
promote CanesInSight.
Of course, I'm gonna be wearing all the gear. Not much going on, man. Really not much going on. Like I said, my wife's up here for work, so she's out here trying to save the world. We're talking crap about 20-year-olds. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on. There's really not much to do. If someone has any recommendations on Tally, let me know. I know my guy was in here at the scroll up in the chat with a couple recommendations, but they're not much. There's not much happening. Weather's perfect. That's one thing that's nice. It's not too cold. Weather's nice. I don't see any clouds in the sky. I think the weather part of it is going to be good. If Carson Beck has this kind of weather, he's throwing for 400. Good point by Sean, by the way. USF helped us prepare for this game. Keep it contained and collapse in the pocket will be everything. That is a great point. Yep. And, I do think, honestly, in terms of Castellanos is better at getting out of the pocket and throwing than Brown. Like, I think he's just more of a crafty, run to pass kind of guy. But I think Brown is a better runner than Castellanos because of his size.
Canes Cats, he says there's some sort of baseball scrimmage going on for FSU. I've been. That stadium's a nice little stadium. Not little. I mean, it's a good stadium.
We got. I might cut a baseball podcast, Canes Cast. So stay tuned for that. That might be what I'm doing here. But yeah, not too much going on. Alex says recommendations to get out of there. Got to get out of there with a win, man. Malik Rozier family has a bar named Sharky's off the highway. Maybe stop by and support. William Miller saying Madison Social. Come on, I might roll by that. If you see me, say what's up. Billy Candela saying, look at that mint green windbreaker.
So Billy is his brother is the one who did that video for us.
Awesome. We were talking about it yesterday.
Drew. Yeah, man, killing it.
That was a sick
this
video.
By the way, this is I can't. Where's the logo on here? Got some Under Armour, which Miami was never officially Under Armour, but I got a little connection here and there.
They got Gunther's Chicken there. So we're getting some recommendations here.
Isn't it Guthrie's?
Oh, maybe it is Guthrie's. Yeah, you might be right. They got the new rappers blowing up out of here. Tallahassee does have some pretty good rappers. They got a decent rap tradition, right? I mean T-Pain obviously is more of a pop singer, but he was out of there. But they've had a couple guys. Who's out of Tallahassee?
Who's the kid? There's a young kid out of Tallahassee.
I've heard someone calling him out lately.
LaTyler. A Boston Richie, real Boston Richie's from there. I like.
Wait, he's not from Boston?
No. He's from Tallahassee.
Boston.
LaTyler is. I mean, I don't really like his stuff, but Tyler's blowing up. So they say Bossman D'Lo's from Tallahassee. See, I thought he was from Port Salerno.
Wait, what's Port Salerno?
Yeah, he was born in Port Salerno, but I guess his origin is Tallahassee. Port Salerno is like Martin County. It's like Port St. Lucie.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
I never heard of Martin County. Never heard of Port Salerno. Shout out to Port Salerno. P, while you're looking up Tallahassee rappers, I want to talk about our friends at KashKick. That's KashKick. One of the top apps in the country. Go to the App Store. It's number 4 on the lifestyle apps, ahead of Pinterest. This is a mainstream, big-time app. Over 1.5 million downloads, over 4.5 average rating on the App Store. And this is a sweet deal. It's very rare you get a win-win-win situation. I mean, beating FSU in Tallahassee is a win, but having to be here in Tallahassee is a loss. That's not a win-win. But this is a win-win-win, triple win situation, a Play It Forward program with KashKick, KashKick, where you play, you download the KashKick app, you get all your mobile games on one app. You see the diversity of games. I mean, if you play any kind of game on your phone, coloring, Scrabble, gambling games, RPGs, I mean, any kind of game that you play on your phone, they got it on KashKick. So you download the app, got all the games on your phone, play the games. You make extra money on the side, all legit. You can sign in with your Google account, Facebook. This is all legit. Again, a very highly rated international top app. Go to KashKick, play the games, download the games, make some money on the side, and then the American Cancer Society is going to match. There's going to be matching donations to the American Cancer Society for the money that you earn. So you keep the money you earn, and that money is matched with a donation to the American Cancer Society. So they win, you win, and then, of course, you play the game. The rare triple win with the Play It Forward program. KashKick, KashKick, one of the top apps in America. Let's see what's going on. Bossman from Port St. Lucie, there it is, around that way.
Bossman D'Lo, man. Yeah, I got to put you on some Bossman D'Lo.
What's his style?
It's hard. They're hard beats, man. Hard beats. His flow is very, pretty much the same every song, but it's good for riding around music and like getting you ready for a football
Southern
game.
Style approach there.
Yeah. It's like I said, a lot of the songs sound the same. You'll hear one of his songs and you'll definitely like know who it is. But yeah, the beats are tough.
So here we go. Sean's
and he drops a lot of sports ad libs, like more than any other rapper that I've heard.
Is he a Bull fan? Is he a Canes fan?
No, I don't. I had never seen him rep either one. So I don't know. He
must be a Knowles fan that's just being quiet because they won 2 games last year. So now you can't really rep it. So question here from Sean. What's the deal with those twins from Norland? Did we not try this? The Desir twins, DESIR, identical twins from Norland. We saw them, Pete, at that camp, right? You were there. Were you there?
Yeah, I looked it up the other day. So from that camp, that was the camp we saw Floyd Boucard and immediately said he's legit and he's doing well at USC now. He had just transferred to Central. And then the Desir twins. I looked back at the tweets and that was like the first like event back that I was doing with CanesInSight, and we both liked the Desir twins also, and Boucard. I mean, those were like the 3 guys we liked from there. So I don't remember Miami ever really making a move for those guys, D.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, I think so I liked them. I thought FSU made a good decision to get those guys. I mean, Miami was recruiting at a higher level, but I thought FSU was smart to take those players. When you see them in person, they tried hard, number one. So they were hardworking guys from at least what I could gather in the camp. I always like to look at, and you do too, Pete, look at the intangibles at the camp. Because a lot of times the guys that are on point at the camp that are first in line, that are listening to the coaches, that are doing those things right, that clearly took care of their bodies, those are the guys that tend to do well. And he's in great shape. Both those twins were in great shape. They've added weight at FSU, but they were like ready to play at defensive end in high school. They now add a weight to be undersized defensive tackles. But physically impressive, worked hard. One of the twins was better than the other, Mandrell. I like the film. The thing with them is they were a little straight line-ish as pass rushers. I think that's what kept Miami from going all the way with them, is they weren't necessarily dominating those one-on-ones in the camp or on film. They weren't guys that were like just that great side to side. They were pretty athletic, but they were straight ahead guys and, again, physically strong. So I think that's maybe why they didn't get the full-on attention from the national recruiting type schools, including Miami, which is able to recruit at that elite level. I just think they were a little stiff pass rush wise, but they were big. They played hard. I'm not surprised they're doing well for FSU. I would be shocked if they did anything against Miami's offensive line, or at least, maybe they make one fluke play, but I think otherwise they're going to be pretty much mauled in this particular game. But I do think they have a bright future. They could have played at Miami for sure as depth guys. But I think ultimately they made the smartest decision from a play early standpoint to go to FSU, because FSU's defensive line, when you're playing 270-pound true freshman at defensive tackle, it's different. It's a different animal than what you see at Miami.
Jose Barrios asking, what's up with the Washington Bros? Robbie is at Coastal Carolina. I think he scored a touchdown the other day. And then Bobby, as we mentioned earlier, getting back from his injury, should be back here any week now. Questionable this week, but has made big time progress, and we'll be ready to go we'll be playing hopefully here by the end of the year. Hopefully, we'll be.
I'm surprised.
I don't know what the plan is redshirt wise, but.
So Robbie's playing, which is good. I'd like to see some more production out of him. I mean, he's really a talented guy. Three catches, 33 yards against Virginia, a 24-yard catch. ECU, which is a pretty good opponent, beat them 38-0. He caught 3 passes.
Had a touchdown against South Alabama in their win. I mean, he's getting catches every game. He's had multiple catches each game, so that's good. So the acronym for University of Southern Alabama or South Alabama is USA.
Yeah, pretty cool, cool deal there. But caught a touchdown.
You know where that school is, right?
No, where is it?
Mobile,
baby. Miami's doing some work there. Boy, Tank Jones. Hopefully he sees this performance, sees Ruben Bain get 3 sacks here, and that'll be going. Hold on. John Z says FSU says that freshman Wynn will be the nose tackle with Jackson at defensive at end. That'd be, you know what? That's not a bad idea. To get the 2 biggest guys out there, so part of the problem with FSU's matchup here is that they're running a 3 down front with no size. So at least if you put the freshman, what was his name? He was like a Kevin Wynn, big, highly rated defensive tackle that they signed last year, wide body guy. He's been nicked up, but he's playing this week. You put him there at nose tackle just to take up space. Put Darrell Jackson at defensive end. You will have more size. Now, I think discipline-wise, you're talking about guys that are not the most disciplined. I mean, Wynn, I don't know. He's just a true freshman. Jackson, I know, is not the most disciplined. So you're talking about guys that could be way out of position in huge chunks. Size-wise, it makes sense. But there's more to taking up space than just having size. You got to kind of know what to do with it, know how to play the spot, know how to use your body. And I'm not sure that's the best approach. I bet they have no choice. I mean, they just don't have a lot of experienced talent up front. But that would be an interesting approach. That would definitely be going with size. Hold on, Pete. Breaking news in academia.
I see it. I mean, listen, I guess we're going down this route, but I didn't have this on the bingo card today.
Joan Rodriguez says the Killian thing is happening. My wife teaches there.
So, breaking news. Are we is this gonna end up on like Only in Dade? Like, how does this go now? Like, we broke this. So,
yeah, Pete, you should.
I mean, like, you broke this. It wasn't me, but unfortunately, we went down this path.
CanesInSight.
Man, so Palmetto has won the war, huh?
I guess, man. It's True North really won the war. True North's the one that's taking that's a charter school down there in Kendall. That's actually where Jason Lopez went before he went to Chaminade.
Yeah, yeah. That's where Rubio's son went too. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he went to Belen, but I think he played a lot at True North earlier. Yeah, man. Wow, this is it's pretty heartbreaking for those in the Glenwood Acres community.
A lot of great Canes come out of there. Talk about Lamar Miller. Who else came from Killian? I know we've got some.
Jaquan Johnson.
Oh, Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine.
Sheldrick, yeah.
So let's see. Here it is. Joan Rodriguez. They've surplus 10 teachers, including band, drama, art, and a couple others. They will decide how many teachers they will keep. Yeah, it's a shame.
I shouldn't be laughing. I'm just, I don't know. We should be putting all this out there, D.
Hey, listen, it's not like I got inside info on it. I mean, I heard that like in a party, and apparently it's true. Got confirmation from Joan. Here we go.
Man.
Wait, the lyric from Boss Man D-Lo's song, What You Need, what you're likely looking for is, I'm in Miami slaying in the hurricane.
Yeah, but that was No Cap. That was the song. And No Cap is really, I said D-Lo has a lot of sports references. No Cap has more. No Cap, who is from Mobile, is the one who dropped that line about, remember Cam Ward and Jacoby? And technically the line was, I'm in that Huracan, the car, sliding like Cam Ward and Jacoby. So just giving you the lyric there.
Yeah, man. Well, we're going on a journey here. I don't want to get off the show because then I got to like be in this town. And
yeah, I see 305 Shaman. Thank you. I'm telling you, it's like the Lamborghini Huracan, sliding, not slang, sliding.
There you go. There you
go.
What
a show. This was great. This was better than we could have expected, right? Hour and a half here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is FSU week. I don't know how much football we actually talked, but
we did for a good amount.
Yeah, we got to blow these guys out. I know I predicted a close game, and I'm obviously nervous about the circumstances of the game, but I mean, these guys are out here starting true freshmen on the defensive line. Remember we used to do that stuff, and we would lose by like 50 to actual teams. That's what needs to happen. Yeah. That's what needs to happen.
Let's see, man. This is I feel good about it. I really do. But hey, you're on the road there, so you're putting your money where your mouth is.
Enemy territory. We're taking over. We're planting the flag. Don Vaughn saying, "Don't worry." So we're planting the flag out here. Maybe I'll join you when I walk down from the stadium on the with post game Pete. We'll be out there celebrating before going to. I don't know what the bar is out here. Bullwinkles is where people go out here. I forgot.
There was a place I remember I went to like a pregame thing at one time for a Canes game. AJ's, I think it was called. I was another one. One thing about Tyler, they're gonna have some college bars.
No doubt about it. And they'll be drinking. They'll be drinking away their tears. Blue eyes crying in the rain. 1200 on. Like and subscribe to the show. Appreciate everybody joining us here. And we'll see you tomorrow. Well, I might do another show here this afternoon. And definitely see you tomorrow morning for breakfast with the Canes. And then after the game, celebration with post-game Pete. Like and subscribe. Go Canes.
Go Canes.